What's going on, guys? It's Trader Cause. First video with the new PC, monitors, mic. Hopefully everything is sounding good, looking good. I think I set everything up correctly, but if there are any problems with the quality in terms of video quality or audio quality or anything like that, be sure to let me know in the comments. Definitely want to start doing more YouTube videos like this. I will be using a webcam. People have told me, and I've heard quite a bit, that it feels a lot more personal, and people just enjoy watching videos when they feel like that person's talking to them and not anonymous behind a screen. So I am waiting for my webcam to show up, and then we will get things really rolling. But since I pretty much have everything, I wanted to put out a video. We'll probably cover Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and maybe a couple other coins depending on how long this goes. This intro's already been a minute, so I better speed things up. But super excited to start making more content for you guys, and we'll be doing some recorded YouTube videos, and we'll also be doing some live streams. So let's get right into it. It helps me a lot if you guys like the video and subscribe, just because that helps the YouTube algo push my videos a little more. And as you all probably know, because you're a part of the crypto community, there's a lot of whack content out there on YouTube. And so I'm hoping we can do everything in our power to start pushing some better content, some non-clickbaity content. So that's kind of what I'm going to try and do, and just hang out with you guys and produce as good of content as I can. So let's start with Bitcoin. We've had this insane run up and topped out for now January 8th. That was 18 days ago. And we've kind of just been consolidating ever since then. This is the range that I'm kind of working with. We made our range low here. Bounce was the range high. I was looking for it to go just a little bit higher. Got rejected a little early, but now I think this is an even better target, so to speak, because I do think we have some unfinished business up there. But I think it's entirely possible that we just continue ranging for a bit. So we'll see what we get. But range low, bounce to the range high. We kind of chopped around the mid-range for a bit. I did not trade well around here. I was looking for some longs, then we break down a little, thinking we would go down to the range low first, painted these equal highs, and I was like, okay, we're probably going to go sweep those next, and kind of just got chopped up a little bit in this range. But that's okay. We're moving on from it, and I learned some lessons there. So now, last week, we just kind of bled down for the entire week. We tagged the yearly open and took out this low, and we're bouncing from there so far. I kind of thought this was going to be the low, especially after we started moving up like this with some strength, but now it's kind of looking like it's not. So let's see what we got. Zooming in a little bit. We got our Monday's range here. This blue level is 12-hour supply, which we wicked into. We just broke above the weekly open after tagging that 1-2 a bunch of times right there. So hopefully this holds here. We're pretty much at the start of the Asian session, and as you guys have seen on Twitter, it's kind of becoming a meme at this point, but we have been selling off a little bit during the Asian session typically, but that's not it hasn't been happening as much recently. Let's see, let's get our session breaks on there. So it's basically the start of the trading day. So this day we pushed up first here. Ended up being a down day, and it kind of chopped around during Asia. This, we had one dump during Asia and then pumped. Here it dumped, but I think that's kind of become a meme because we've been downtrending for 2 weeks, and so it just so happens, well, I don't know if it's completely a coincidence. I don't think it is, but I think I don't think it's like, oh, it's Asian session, so it has to go down. Because here it went up. Yesterday kind of chopped around and ended up dumping a little bit, but I'm not putting too much weight into that anymore. It was working really well for a little bit, but now it's hit or miss. So we've got our weekly open support here, if that holds, I'm looking for us to push up. I think this black level might be daily support, or what is that? Sometimes I have these levels and then forget what they're from. I have no idea. Maybe I accidentally moved it. Interesting. All right, we'll just delete that. We've got Monday's mid-range here. And yeah, okay, sorry. Back to the topic. Monday's high up here. Monday's low. We kind of swept it here, swept it again, swept that there. And now we finally broke structure, and we're starting to break out a little bit. So I would call the break. I don't think we had the break of structure here. I don't think we had it until this candle right here when that really broke out, because here I would say this was more just range bound, and now breakout. This should be our retest. We want this to hold. I'd be okay with it coming down to here, but then I would want to see it push up from there. So retesting the weekly open. I am bullish. I think there are better plays than Bitcoin. I think alts are better plays right now, and we'll talk about some of those, especially Ethereum. But for now, I don't really have a long setup here for Bitcoin. I think a possible short would be look for some weakness around the mid-range and maybe a sweep of Monday's high. Something like that. Part of me does still think we tag this mid-range. I know we swept this low, and so it could push up from here, but I'm not ruling out another move down to that mid-range. So with that being said, bigger picture, that could look something like this. We push up, sweep this high, come down, test the mid-range. I think everyone would be like, okay, it's over. We're going down to 26K. And then from there, start trending up. And I think we at least take out these highs at 38. Maybe we reject there and keep ranging. Or we take out this range high at 40,500. So those are kind of some bigger picture scenarios I'm watching. But for now, if Bitcoin just wants to keep chopping around, doing something like this, I mean, obviously not exactly like that, but that could give us some killer long opportunities on altcoins. So I guess I'm kind of just monitoring Bitcoin, not necessarily looking for a trade setup just yet. I don't want to see it. If it lost Monday's low, I would probably scale out of some alt positions and then look to re-enter if we tag the range low, because I'm expecting a Bitcoin bounce there. I would expect other altcoins to bounce there as well. I hope that all makes sense. Ethereum chart is a little messy. I'm going to hide this and kind of just talk you guys through it. So similarly, we have a range here. We made an all-time high on this poke, swept that high again, and that kind of formed Monday's range. Ethereum's kind of been getting smacked every time it gets close to all-time highs. Like here, we got close, smacked it, got close, smacked it, got close, pushed down. These are getting shorter though, so maybe we're building some strength up to shoot through that. I've been looking for longs above this range high twice now, but have been waiting for confirmation luckily, and so haven't just been getting trapped. Like for instance, we make this high, come back to retest. I'm like, okay, I want to see this market structure continue, break that high, and keep going. And I think that would be a beautiful long, but then it kind of just slowly bled down. Here, make this high. I'm like, okay, we're bouncing. Let's see it get above, keep trending. But that never happens, and we just kind of slowly bled down once again. Make this thinner. But this is looking pretty good to me. Start with the 4 hour. This is an old weekly open. I don't need that there anymore. We have 4 hour demand right here. This was the origin of this impulse up. I like this candle too, but I'm not sure if we're actually going to get down there. I didn't buy right here. I had this drawn before, had one drawn here as well. Deleted that. This one's more relevant, so I kind of just have that on my chart for now. I'm not saying I bought right where it bounced or whatever, but we have some 4 hour demand there, and also we formed Monday's range here, so range high, range low. We kind of chopped around there, I did make a mistake today, but like I got absolutely faked out here. Cost me probably a 2% bounce. I'll get into that in a sec, but we had this previous low there. We originally swept it, and that looked good, and we started pushing, but then we came down. We kind of have this bouncy ball meme going on like this, just smaller bounces every time, and then we finally broke through. But it was right into this H4 or 4-hour demand, bang, and then started pushing up from there. I saw this 15-minute candle, and I hedged some of my spot there because I was like, okay, I still think we might tag down here by the mid-range, and that is one hell of a rejection. Let me see if we can go back there. Basically, we were here. How do I do this? One more candle. I was like, boom, okay, this is ready to come back down, ready to bleed further. Next candle, fakes out down, pushes up. Next candle, another big rejection, but then ends up closing through, and I'm like, okay, I'm out of this. I absolutely got faked out. So luckily I was able to mitigate that to just over 2%-ish, but still a bummer, still a mistake, and I had to remind myself to not get too caught up in one candle. In hindsight, I should have waited. It was this candle right here. I should have waited for that candle to close and like, okay, if this closes as a sweep into Monday's low above those highs and close back below it, then let's enter. But I was looking at the 15-minute chart too much, got in and got hurt. Moving on though, we did end up getting back inside Monday's range, flipped the daily open, didn't quite retest it, and this is our range high again, which has been a pivotal level. And I'm starting to see some similarities between this right here and this right here. And I hope it's different this time, but I'm not betting on it yet. Let's see if we can do, I think it's this. Yeah, look at this. Like if this is our retest, this could just end up bleeding down again. Maybe I will get that 4-hour demand, but I am seeing some similarities there. That's why I really want to see us hold above this range high, but we'll see. That's kind of just speculation at this point. It doesn't really give me anything actionable. But we had this hourly breaker, led to the run of those lows, break back above. We retested it here, but I'm not ruling out a possible dip further. I do think so. We could get something like this to the daily open and then back above, or I think we could retest Monday's low and then get going. Either of those scenarios, this scenario would probably be a bit more painful. I don't necessarily want to see it get that low, but I think the bullish play is intact as long as it stays above that. I don't really want to see it hanging out around here. That would make me think this level is not going to hold, and we come down here to the mid-range. So weekly open is here. I had that drawn earlier. I can delete that. Weekly open is right here. So a flip of that also has nice confluence with Monday's mid-range, and we kind of have this level right here. It's like this area, essentially. Support, 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 bounce through, retest, resistance, resistance, resistance. So a flip of that would have me feeling pretty darn good that we are going to go to these highs, at least 1,500, and probably push further, because you can see that's kind of been the pivotal level. This is the level that held us up, and now it's the level that's keeping us underneath it. So definitely have my eyes on that as well, and I'm bullish on this as well, but still kind of just waiting for some actionable setups. I'm mostly holding spot Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so, like, if this just wants to rip straight up, I'm not going to be mad because I am holding spot, but I still want to catch some leverage moves, but just waiting patiently till something unfolds. So let's look at Link quickly. We're creeping up on 20 minutes. Well, I'm at 15. But we'll look at this. It kind of has a similar structure. Yeah, let's jump into it. So our previous all-time high was right here, broke above, held it, kind of deviated below it, and now pushed back above. Super strong buying right there after that horrible looking daily candle, but then we covered that up with one bullish engulfing. Not quite, but pretty nice bounce back there. I've been looking for this level. I don't think it's going to hit, but if it does, I think that would be a pretty nice long opportunity. This was our last up move before sweeping those lows. We broke structure. That's our breaker. Would love some longs there, but not necessarily counting on it at this point. We have a daily breaker right here. So that's a 4-hour one. This would be the daily one, and we tagged that. And so that kind of makes me think we're pushing up from here. You can see this kind of looks similar to Ethereum, except it's a little weaker. So here we tested Monday's low about 3 times, broke below, and then we're trying to flip it with Ethereum. Wrong one. With Ethereum, tested it 3 times, broke below, pushed above, but we're not even close to Monday's low anymore. But I do think, that's Bitcoin, sorry. I do think this is a pretty nice setup. I think it's possible the low is in here, and that would offer a really nice risk to reward. So, I mean, I might wait till London just because we'd have more volume then. But these were our equal highs. You can see this general region has been pretty pivotal. Got rejected here, rejected once again there, resistance, flipped it, support, broke below, and now we're kind of flipping it again. So if we can maintain above that, Link is going to get going. The Link BTC pair looks great. And a lot of coins are looking like this, man. Monday's high just all by itself, made a low, break below, reclaim, and start to push up. That's kind of what I want to see. I'm hoping the low of the week is in. I'm not entirely convinced yet, but need to see a little bit more before being super confident about that. But it's shaping up. It's shaping up pretty nicely. So hold Monday's low, and I think Link will start pushing up. Let's see where the weekly open is on this. If some coins start flipping the weekly open, that's when things get super bullish. It's pretty high up though. But I mean, just looking at this weekly chart, the weekly open is obviously where that candle opened. So if we get back above that and this candle turns green, we still have 5 days left, but this turns green, I'm just going to look for it to trend for the rest of the week. So with that being said, I'm going to be keeping an eye on those. So I have it on Link here. On Ethereum, there's a nice confluence with the mid-range. And on Bitcoin, we're right above it. But Bitcoin looks a bit different than a lot of alts. Not quite the same weekly structure. But yeah, flip that and this could really start running. I think that's pretty much it. Not a ton of setups I'm taking right now. I think in other videos I'll have more actionable setups that I'm taking or that I'm currently in. But right now I'm still pretty early and just kind of waiting to see how this unfolds, because I was kind of getting chopped up around this mid-range here on Bitcoin. And then I've kind of just been not sitting out, but just being a little bit more cautious with the setups I'm taking and waiting for maybe a little more confirmation than I typically would, but just kind of being patient, waiting for the setup to come to me, even though that sounds super cliche. But a couple of these are looking good, man, and I'm kind of just excited about my spot. I did convert some Bitcoin into Link the other day, probably somewhere around here. I think it was just under 20, 19.5 or so, right around there. Actually, it might have been while we were dumping, so I was underwater for a little bit, but then pumped up nicely, and if this level holds, Link's going to like $30. So overall, super bullish. Would love to see some pumps for the spot. I'm not trading this with leverage quite yet, but I'm looking for some setups, and hopefully we get something later on tonight or tomorrow. Hope this video is helpful. I think I want to do more streams just because then you guys can interact with me, and you can be asking questions in the chat. I can look at those charts. Maybe we'll even do some live education stuff. I think that'd be pretty fun. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tried to keep it right around 20 minutes, which we did. And I will post updates to what I'm watching in my Twitter, on my Twitter feed, and in my free Telegram channel. I've said this a few times, but the Twitter is filled with a little more noise than the Telegram. Telegram I like to keep clean, pretty much just charts and some trading tips, advice, educational stuff. Whereas on the Twitter, I kind of get off topic quite a bit. But that's pretty much it. Once again, feel free to subscribe, just because I'm planning to start pushing out a lot more content. So let's make some money together. I'll talk to you guys soon.